it first. Maybe we'll take a job scheduler first. We'll try to look at it. Okay. I think by the name itself, we can understand that it is like scheduling a job. So you schedule it for some time, and the system does that for you. Okay, I think we'll go ahead. We'll directly do this. Okay, so on the application. Okay, let us take this activity itself. So before directly creating your job schedulers or queue processors, the base is going to be your activity. So you put in your logic here for sending out emails or for generating documents or generating Excel sheets. So everything is put in the activity. The logic goes in here. Okay, now I think we'll create. So job schedulers are part of your sysadmin category. Yes, but I still have agents. Both your standard, advanced agents are still available. But slowly, the environment is shifting towards these two new rule forms, schedulers and queue processors. Okay, and you see there isn't any specific class for the job scheduler. It's not, it's not bound by any class here. Still. Okay. Let us create my job scheduler. Where is it getting created? O1, O2. Okay. Let's just check if everything is fine here. Are there any open rule sets? Seems good. Fine. Okay, it's part of HRS O2, O1, O2. We create. Okay, right. So what comes in a scheduler? The first thing is, would you like to enable this job scheduler? Yes, I would like to enable it. Now, on which node would you like to run it? Ideally, it is set to background processing, right? Ideally. But if you look at this, once I click on this gear icon, so I can see a lot of other aspects also. There are different nodes available. So one is for business intelligence reports, we call it BICS. One is specific for batch, and there are few custom nodes available. You can configure your own node as well. But ideally, when it comes to job schedulers, most used option is background processing. And in fact, if you want, you can have it on two different nodes also. You can do it, but if it's just one specific action that you wanted to do, ideally we can go for one node at a time. Right? Yes. Then, how would you like to run your job scheduler? Is it like you would want it to be run on all the nodes? I mean, when your volume is very high, you would like to divide this, or you would like to, distribute the load. Maybe I think that's the right term. You would like to distribute the load onto multiple nodes, then you can give it to all associated nodes. Where do you want the scheduler to run on? Is it just on one node that's associated currently? This is background processing. Or would you like to just have it on all the nodes? Okay, so that's up to the the volume, the kind of data you are processing, or the kind of work that you're doing on the activity. Okay. So I think I'll put it to all associated nodes for now.
So in background processing node type, whatever nodes are available on all of those nodes, we will distribute the work.
Right,
Is
correct,
that what it
correct,
is? And if we
correct,
select any one associated node, then in background processing on only one node, the processing will take place.
correct, right.
So all associated nodes, when we select,
Mhm.
you said that we will distribute the processing.
Correct. Like if you look at this, for example, I mean, node management is an entirely, a different aspect. So when you look at the Admin Studio, so there's a separate tab for node classification and node management. Yeah, the system administrators would generally look after it. Even if you, see here, if you see, uh, right, see, in a multi-node cluster, job scheduler runs on multiple nodes. Right? So depending upon the volume, the kind of data or the kind of activity you are doing, so you can have a multi-node as well, where I can associate this with multiple nodes. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So now, yes, I've decided where it has to run. Now, what is the schedule? When I say job scheduler, you're scheduling something. But what are you scheduling, or when are you scheduling it? So when should your job scheduler run? Is it when your if I use startup, is it when your system starts, which means only probably once a week, or probably maybe once every couple of days whenever your server is starting? Or would you like to have it multiple times a day? If yes, is it for hours, minutes, or seconds? For every 2 hours, I would like my scheduler to run. This is the frequency with which you are scheduling your jobs. It's daily. Okay, so is it for every 2 days? Or would you like to schedule it every week? And if yes, what is the time? Okay, you can select the time zone. And so you can select the time zone, and accordingly you can have the scheduler running. Or it could be weekly. Again, so every 1 week you can set the dates. On what days? Maybe every Monday and every uh, Thursday I would like the scheduler to run. Or it could be monthly. First day, I mean, generally we would get our salaries on the last day, right? So maybe the 31st of every 1 month. But in case if 31st is a holiday, it's a weekend, then we might receive the salary on 30th itself. Correct? So in that case, probably the last weekday of every 1 month. Right? So I think we might have observed this when when 31st is a weekend or a holiday, we
Yes.
receive the salary the day before itself. So that's because of this kind of scheduling. It's processed on the last day of your month. Okay? And we see the salary process and all happens in the night, because by morning 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock you will receive a message saying your account is credited with so and so. Yes, because this process happens in the night during your off-peak hours. Right? Yes, then it could be an yearly on your financial year ending, probably every 31st of March, you would like to have your report. Or again, the last day, maybe the last weekday of every March. And this occurs every year. Right? Likewise, depending upon the frequency, you can choose the schedule, and you can also set a start time for it. I think for us to observe now, I'll go with this multiple times a day. So after every 2 minutes, I want this to be, this scheduler to execute. Okay, the scheduling part is done. But what is the action that you wanted to take? So my action is there on the activity. Okay, so for that, where is my activity in work-recruitment? So let me select the context. Yes, so this context is, okay, who is going to run this scheduler? I mean, is there any access that you're providing to it? For example, use system runtime context is where, depending upon the runtime, the system will take the access group and it will proceed with the schedule. But otherwise, if you want only people with the specific access group to work on this, then you can mention the access so that the context is considered. I mean, maybe if only an admin logs in and he enables the scheduler, you run the transaction. Otherwise, you don't do it. When it uses the system runtime context, the system would take this input in runtime, and it will, I mean, irrespective of any access group, it would just execute the scheduler. Okay. Right. Then here is where you define the class. So what is the scope of your activity? Where is it? I think it's there somewhere. XYZ work dash, right? Yes. What is the activity? I have Act 1 and Act 2. Let us use my act. Okay. And what is the configuration of your alert? If my job scheduler has been running for more than this period of time, then I would like to send in an alert that this is still being running. So this alert, this is generated when the execution time is more than this threshold. Okay, so that's when we would define it based upon the complexity of the activity again. If you have a lot of DB hits and a lot of DB updates that happen, so definitely your threshold should be high. Okay, so but before that, let me just save it.
Where will we will receive these alerts? In the logs?
Yes, in the alert log. We have a PEGA log, right? Similarly,
Yes,
the
PEGA logs.
alert log also. Yes. Okay. Right. So here, if you observe, what does it say is, my job scheduler is not resolved against the context specified in the system runtime context. So when I say system runtime context, when I try to open this, it says these are the applications that are available. Okay, and if you look at the version, what is it that we are using? We are using HRS. The current version, that's, I mean, the rule set where your job scheduler is in is O2, O1, O2, correct? But here, when you look at the system related ones, it says HRS, there's O1, O3, O1. It has to be O1, O2, O1, O1, correct? Maybe if required, I could change it here to O2, O1, O2. I can save it here. And you see here, what does it say? If there are any queue processors or job schedulers from this version, HRS 01, 03, 01, they will no longer be available. Let's check the version once. Yeah, seems good. Is it just taking the application version alone? Oh, okay. Then I'll let it be. So, but this user, if you observe, the application says 01, 03, 01, but this user does not have access to this. And the current version that where your job scheduler is created is in O2, O1, O1, where this is the operator. The operator rule set is more than the application rule set here, if you observe. So let us do one thing. Change the context. I'll let this be based upon the access group. So which application is this pointing to? HRS 01, 01, 01. Okay. I think I'll just change this to 01, 01, 01. This should be good. Yeah. Okay. So this is fine. I mean, you understood what happened here. This HRS latest version is picked, and this user does not have access to it. So that's why earlier, when I gave it, showed me an error. But now, yes, the access group is 01, 01, 01. I think I'll let this be. And let's save it now. We will just keep the access group and check once. HRS administrators. Okay, fine. Let us just run this once. I mean, ideally it should have been run once I save it. The advantage is I don't need to configure this anywhere else. I don't need to invoke this anywhere else. But once this is enabled, it should be executed. But in order to look at that execution status, we go to the admin studio. Okay, let's look at the jobs. Okay, so these are the raw existing jobs that are running. And I think let's filter out. Let us just check this once again. Okay. So there's this problem with the version here because the application version is 010101, whereas the operators version is 020101. I think we should have created this somewhere in over. Let's do one thing. I mean, that's the reason I checked the rule version earlier when we created this. Okay, but my activity is in O2, right? Okay. Let us do one thing. I'll put this back in 010101 for a moment. I mean, you're understood. You're understanding what is happening right here.
Yes.
So that's why it's always a good practice. I mean, like we should not juggle here and there with respect to the the rule sets, because the application rule set is what we are mentioning here is O201, whereas for the this is for the operator, whereas on the application we have O301, and in the system context we have 01010. Let us just allow this. Ideally, this shouldn't be the scenario. We shouldn't do it. Distance any. I think I'll just put it to O1 now, so that O2 related ones will not be picked. Oh, but I think I have a lot of rules in O201 also. Just put it back because there are around like 50 to 55 rules, I think. Yeah, almost 65 rules are there. So no, I cannot take chances. So it's not letting me save in O1. How come? Now I should definitely go with this. Let's see. Yeah. Now the system would pick only from these O1, O1 itself, not from other rule sets. Yeah, now if you observe, it says they're specified in the system runtime context. Now if you look at this, the HRS says O1, 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 right? I mean, you understood what just happened, right?
Earlier it was not taking because the
Correct,
job scheduler was
correct.
on O2,
Was
O1.
on O2, O1, O1. Exactly, exactly, right. I mean, that's the reason why I initially checked, but yeah. Okay, fine. So my job scheduler is saved. So now I have it enabled. After 2 minutes, let's see what happens. So before that, I'll go to my admin studio. Earlier, there used to be a tab here on the developer toolbar. There's an SMA. Earlier, it used to be there. But now we have this admin studio to look after the background process. So the jobs. Let's refresh this.
It is at the top.
Yeah, okay. So when is it last done? This is 2:16. Okay, this is your GMT time taken. And when is it next? For the next 2 minutes, after 2 minutes. So it says already it has 4 executions and the success rate is 100. Status enabled. Right? So you can also track this using your tracer. Because again, at the end of the day, it's all in your activity, right? And where do you want to trace it? Are you looking at any specific node or any node is fine? I think we can just trace it on any node for now. So the system will wait until the next run. Probably that happens at 10:22, right? So it will wait until then, and once the execution starts, you will get the tracing. Yeah, I think in the meanwhile, while this traces, what we'll do is, yeah, this is still running. Oh, okay. It says tracing. Let's see. What happened? Tracer session. Fine. So what does it say? Initially, the first thing what happened is activity has begun. What is the method that we have on the activity? Log message. The execution status is successful. The step end there. Then the second step is again, I think we used one more log message. Step started and it has ended. The status is good, and then the activity ended. So this seems a very simple activity. So we got to trace them directly here. If maybe you had some DB interactions or OBJ open, so all those would be listed out on my tracer here. And when would the next trace be? After 2 minutes. Yes. Now the executions, if I look at, they have to be 5. Yeah, here it is, right? It happened at 23. And what is the average duration? You get to see it's like 2 seconds. And the success is currently 100%. And if you have to override anything, so when it says it is overridden, okay, let me just, this is your toggle button just to enable and disable your scheduler, right? We have that green button icon there, right, on the Dev Studio. Here it is just an override button. So currently your scheduler is disabled. Until I enable it, it will be a disabled option. Right? So let me change it. Now as it is disabled, let us look when is the next run. Yes, so the next run is 10:27, and then the execution is number of executions are 6. I mean, are we clear so far with the job scheduler?
Yes.
I mean, the main logic lies inside your activity only. Excuse me. The similar way, you will have your queue processor also. I mean, the base is going to be an activity only, but we have a couple of other configurations that we can do on the
On job scheduler, we have the main part is the activity, and
correct.
we give time for that. Like after every 2 minutes, the job
We are
scheduler should run.
scheduling it.
So,
Yeah. Yes.
so after every 2 minutes, when the job scheduler runs, the activity also runs with it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if the
Like
activity
you're
is
invoking the activity using your scheduler. You are just scheduling the activity there using your job scheduler. That's just the the whole point of your scheduler. It just schedules. It starts the event depending upon your you define it here, right?
has the main process will be done by the activity only, but
Activity
at what point the activity should run is done, the batch
schedule that.
schedule is done
Yes.
by the job scheduler. Okay.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So the batch processing or generation of documents will be there on your activity. But when should that happen is defined on the scheduler. So you do it for every 1 month. Is it a salary cycle? Or you do it for every 1 year as for your financial year end closure, whatever it might be. Then you are scheduling that using the job scheduler. The main logic, the business conditions, the business scenario would lie on your activity. So
Okay.
every time the scheduler is run, your activity is run. Right? I mean, clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Talking about this job scheduler, it is known to replace your advanced agents. Right? On the advanced agents, you get to mention the times and all that. Okay, this is a second. So I still have my agents. So this, if you look at this agent schedule, so here also you observe on what nodes am I running it. Is it on all the nodes or just the background processing? So these are a replacement for the agents. So you see, here you are
The
telling
purpose of
when,
agent is same only.
yes, your agents are also more like without a manual intervention, how can I automate my process? Or if I have to run the same logic for n number of times, I can use this. Or for running the same logic for a periodic basis, I can run my agents. So now if you observe the agent, so there's this agent which is the pattern is a periodic basis and it is run for every 360 seconds, which is like 60 minutes, right? For every 1 hour, this is being run. So this agent here. And inside the agent also, again, the core lies inside the activity only. Agents are just for scheduling, just like your job schedulers. But what happens is through your activity. When you look at any agent, when you open an agent,
Nowadays, we do not use agents. We just use job schedulers.
correct. I mean, starting from 8 Pega Infinity, we have got these schedulers and processors. Earlier it was
Okay.
all on agents. It's still not wrong to use agents, but we have got, I think, better options here and better handling is available. So I think slowly the systems are shifting towards the new rule forms. The legacy systems are still with, they are still working on agents only, but few projects are slowly moving towards the schedulers and queue processors. Yes, so when you look at this, suppose I open an agent, okay? So where you see there's a scheduling of agents where, yes, here is your activity. So this activity is executed for every 600 seconds, like for every 10 minutes, this is being executed. If you look at the activity, it has got its own implementation. So this APZ installation, and what is this related to? Okay, so this is an important activity that has run, that is being run after you install or upgrade something. Okay, so it seems like an important activity.